one badass stapler.
In February of last year, Netflix presented us with a dysfunctional superhero family who argued and danced their way right into our hearts. With a cast of characters straight from the spectacular mind of My Chemical Romance frontman Gerard Way, fans were blown away from the start, propelling the series into a second season that went down incredibly well. Considering the themes of violence and interdimensional travel littered throughout the show, you'd expect the actors to be rather taken aback on set, but believe it or not, rumor has it that the cast knows how to have a good time behind the curtain. If you want to know more, stay right where you are as we travel through some of the best behind-the-scenes secrets from the cast of The Umbrella Academy. Believe me, this is going to make you want to watch both seasons again. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. First is Pogo the paternal primate. Many of us were absolutely heartbroken when Pogo, the anthropomorphized primate that the Hargreeves children had grown up with and considered a father, was brutally killed by Vanya when overtaken by the primordial force within her. Not only did the reaction of the Hargreeves bring tears to our eyes, it left an empty feeling in our stomachs knowing that we would never see one of our favorite characters again, at least not in his grown form. But how did the showrunners of the Umbrella Academy bring this reaction out of us? I mean, Pogo was just an ape, right? Well, in order to make him more than that, the showrunners had to bring the comic book character to life, which essentially meant anthropomorphizing him. In order to do so, they at first attempted to make use of prosthetics, allowing Pogo the full range of human emotions since he would be played by an actual human. This was, however, replaced for the Pogo we later came to know, who was brought to life using the VFX skills of Weta Digital, who are far from new on the VFX scene, by the way. In fact, you probably know their work from watching the latest Planet of the Apes movies. Just as we saw in behind-the-scenes clips of Andy Serkis as Gollum in The Lord of the Rings, Pogo was portrayed by actor Adam Godley through the use of a mixture of both motion capture and close-up scans. This means that whenever a cast member of the Umbrella Academy was having an emotional interaction with our favorite primate, they were actually interacting with a man in a tight gray motion capture suit. As you can imagine, it would take quite a few takes to get past this setup. With the help of over 220 virtual artists and an incredible performance by Godley, who spent months watching how chimps moved and emoted, Pogo was finally brought to life. And let's be honest, without him, the Umbrella Academy would have been a different experience altogether. Superpowers, explosions, time stops, and more. It's not only Pogo that required a lot of work from the VFX department though, as many of our favorite scenes involved time stopping for all but a few characters, the use of intricate superpowers, and of course, the explosion of the moon. This is especially relevant when one looks to Season 2 of the series, where the show became a lot more fixated on showing off Number 5's time-skipping teleportation skills. Let's just put it this way. If you want to maintain a sense of realism when depicting impossible things, your visual effects must be on point. Unfortunately for the show, especially in the first season, some things were a little out of the range of their budget. Remember, Netflix had no idea at this point that the Umbrella Academy was going to be such a big hit with the public. Expert VFX artist Everett Burrell said in an interview that his one regret with Season 1 was being unable to match up the sky in that time stop clip where everything in the desert landscape is frozen, but Number 5 and the handler. Since the scene was filmed both on location and in front of a green screen, a complicated and unique 3-strip look was used to blend it all together, since other means of blending were far too expensive to consider. Considering that the scene still looks incredible and the changing sky went largely unnoticed by fans, the VFX department should be commended for their brilliant use of the Technicolored effect made popular in the 1930s. That being said, I'm sure they were incredibly happy when they saw how the budget of Season 2 had been increased dramatically. Now, not everything was CGI though. When it comes to superhero movies and series, there are often a number of workout routines and diets pushed on the cast members to get their bodies where they need to be for the role. Think of Chris Pratt's transformation from the overweight Andy Dwyer on Parks and Rec to the ripped Peter Quill of Guardians of the Galaxy. Fans of the show admired the beefiness that is Luthor's character, who is known for having the power of super strength made relatively obvious by the muscles bulging out of his clothes. What took us all by surprise, however, was learning that these were a lot more than muscles. We looked on in shock as we discovered that Luthor had been injected with the serum by Sir Reginald Hargreeves to save his life, giving him the upper body of a gorilla. Believe it or not, actor Tom Hopper did not only have CGI placed on his body to recapture the effect first made popular in the graphic novel. And no, he doesn't actually have the upper body of a gorilla in real life. This was done using a mixture of virtual and practical effects. In fact, the crew actually made a Hopper, a stuffed material suit that he had to wear while filming. meaning that he was, in more ways than one, the hottest character on set. The material suit had next to no detail on it, which obviously didn't matter when Luther was wearing clothes. But for those of you who remember the infamous nightclub scene from season 1, you'll know that a lot more detail was necessary in certain scenes. This is why the crew also made a full upper body suit from rubber to fit the skin tone of the actor, which was then decorated with gorilla hair to be touched up by the VFX department. Hopper once said in an interview that never before has he had to stay so hydrated on set. Now I guess we know why. Is that Wes Anderson I see? The Umbrella Academy as a show is often described as both quirky and colorful, causing many to draw comparisons between it and Wes Anderson properties such as the Royal Tenenbaums and the Grand Budapest Hotel. Now, it's true that no Wes Anderson movie has gone as far as time travel and talking apes, but there is definitely something in the show that screams the filmmaker's name. In fact, Ellen Page, who plays the titular Vanya in the show, admitted in an interview with Vanity Fair that the visual prowess of Wes Anderson was used as a baseline for what the show wanted to be, as that quirky nature fits straight into the overall themes and how they had been dealt with by the graphic novel of the same name. Although the legend did not make the popular Netflix series, his style had been immortalized and paid homage to all the same. Cha-Cha brought the heat. Many 90s babies who watched the Umbrella Academy were surprised to find Mary J. Blige playing the commissioned assassin, Cha-Cha, in the series. I mean, who knew the world-renowned hip-hop artist could even act? Definitely not me. Something even more surprising about Miss Blige, however, is that she insisted that she do all her own stunts. That's right, boys and girls. Mary J. Blige decided to learn gun skills, martial arts, and commit to a flexibility training regimen so that she could make her fight scenes as realistic as possible. And honestly speaking, some of these stunts were quite intense. One scene that comes to mind is where Cha-Cha is fighting against her partner, Hazel, as portrayed by the much bigger Cameron Britton in hand-to-hand combat. Not only does Miss Blige hold her own, she pulls a Natasha Romanoff by hooking her leg around Hazel's neck and flinging him to the ground. Considering this is a move many stunt persons work their entire lives to perfect, Miss Blige really brought the heat. Seriously though, what a good performance. Aidan Gallagher and guns. Although Aidan Gallagher portrays the time-traveling senior citizen, number 5 in the Netflix adaptation, he was only 15 years old when filming began. Since he is not in fact as old as he would like you to think he is, the series had to make a few changes whenever he was on set, mostly due to safety concerns. You can't, for example, fire a firearm in the presence of a minor. This means that every time you see number 5 on screen dodging bullets, it's not actually Aidan, but rather his stunt double taking the brunt of the fire. Although his co-star Cameron Britton has said on many occasions that he often forgot Aidan was a teenager while on set, because he is so incredibly mature and talented for his age, child protection laws exist for a reason, and the law never forgets. Let the music flow. Mary J. Blige was not the only actress to take lessons in an attempt to become more familiar with her character, with Ellen Page going as far as taking violin lessons to become the musical prodigy that is Vanya Hargreeves. This was not, however, an easy feat to achieve. Ellen actually commented in a lead-up to the first season that this was one of the hardest things she has ever had to do to prepare for a role, as the violin is not exactly one of the easiest instruments to master. Considering that the season finale of season 1 of the show had a lot to do with the musical prowess of the character, we are sure glad that she took the steps necessary to make Vanya's musical talent appear real. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.